Having done some fairly exotic foamies recently, I thought I'd revert to something slightly more traditional, and this may be the answer. Clearly it's based upon the GB style. Got the parts cut out here, the body section, the tail there. Now, although there's no reinforcement included in the original design, I thought it would be a good idea at least to put in a dowel there to strengthen up the main wing. So that's going to go just about on the C of G there through the centre of the wing. Power plant and such like, not quite decided yet, but I thought I'd show you it cut out before I start the assembly. Let's move right along. The first thing I'm going to do then is to put in the spar. The C of G is 167 I measured back from the nose there, so I have a point. But I need a line obviously to draw along and then cut so that I can put the dowel in. Now here's a trick that probably most youngsters won't know because they weren't fortunate enough to do geometry or technical drawing at school. Yes, I am that old. What we do then is just to take a compass and set it at some arbitrary value. It's not important. Put the point there and draw ourselves two little lines. Then extend a little bit further. Put your point where the line is there and draw a rough arc on either side. And finally, I think you can guess what happens here. We put our point on this line, and that gives us two centres to draw our line. And there we have it, a perfectly perpendicular line with which to route out our dowel. Progress report time then. What I've done is to put some strapping tape on the top and bottom covering the spar that I put in just for extra strength. I've beveled and put on the elevators and the ailerons here with blender tape, and I've joined using another piece of dowel just the two halves of the elevator there. What we're actually looking at clearly is the bottom, and I've marked lines on here and also on the top where the top parts of the fuselage section are going to go. Whilst I was here, I just thought I'd give you another little tip. Some people find, including myself, these Depron stamps somewhat annoying, especially as I'm going to be using white packaging tape just to cover the model here. I've tried various chemicals to remove this, and I think I've hit upon a solution, if you pardon the pun. I've tried acetone and isopropanol. The isopropanol worked to a certain degree, but what I've found is this particular alcohol, and there's thousands of different ones I know. I believe it doesn't actually state exactly what this stuff is, but I believe it's ethanol. Certainly as a base, it's about 96%, I think it says, 99.9%. Anyway, this is the stuff that I'm using. You'll have to experiment with what's available in your locality. Let's get in a bit closer for you. Okay, with a little pipette then, I'm just going to drop some of the alcohol. The other thing that you will need is some cotton. I've used cotton buds, but these little cotton balls seem to do the trick as well. You need something that's going to be absorbent enough to pick up the ink. We'll just drop, starting at this end, and then give it a moment, and you can actually see the ink running off there. Now with a gentle dab, we can see that coming away. There, that result is good enough for me. Depending on your degree of anal retention, you can either carry on or just leave it at that. Once I have my white packing tape over the top, I don't believe you will have ever known that the Depron mark was there. Well, what a difference some white packing tape and some stickers that I've cut on my vinyl cutter make. I've gone a bit overboard, cut the numbers out there, and also you can see on the tail there I've called it the MayBee, and just found a nice tacky Lucky 7 to go on there. So this is a very strange build, being that the last thing that we do is to install the electronics. You can also see here that I've 3D printed a motor mount, and on here we have a 2205 23,000 kV motor. When I was reading through the build log, I was a little bit confused as to why he'd used these Metal Gear servos, which we know are quite heavy, and the actual airframe only weighs in at, I think, 176 grams, a bit over the top. But all becomes clear when you try and balance the thing. As I said, I put the Spar on the C of G there, so that turns out to be around that point there. To start off, I'm going to go with a 1000 milliampere hour 2S pack. If we plonk that on there somewhere, a little 12 amp Simon K speed controller, one servo that will go just about on the CG for the aileron control, and then we have another one for the elevator clearly, and another one for the rudder. My receiver of choice, as always these days, is this little ELRS with a pigtail there to pick up the battery telemetry, so we need one of those. And then, miraculously, our C of G is just about right there. Clearly we can mess around by moving things about, but that's there or thereabouts, I think. So that's why they've used the Metal Gear servos there, just for the additional weight. Let me get on now and make up some control rods, and then we'll do a final overview. All ready for the off now, all the final work done. I've installed the receiver just here. There's the speed controller, antenna there. The propeller, I don't think I mentioned before, is 7x5, and on the other side there we can see the little 1000 milliampere pack. It is a 30C pack, so we should be pretty good there. And the other two servos obviously for the aileron there and the elevator. The all-up weight then came in at 356 grams, which I don't think is too shabby. I'll be using my now famous little pocket Radio Master. I'm getting really keen on this little guy, it's really handy. Let's power the guy up then and show you the controls.
0 volts.
It's on full rates at the moment, so it's going to be a bit ridiculous, but I've got rates set up on the transmitter. Ailerons, elevator, and a rudder there. I thought I'd try and be clever and program in a little bit of up elevator for launch.
Launch mode.
So you can see that goes up there, and as soon as I touch the elevator stick, that slowly gets mixed out again. That should be interesting. What else can I tell you? I have voltage telemetry, so
7.8 volts. 7.8 volts.
and I've also set up an alarm to let me know when it gets down to 7.2. As far as the C of G is concerned, pretty spot on, I think. I have some leeway on the battery pack there. I could even put maybe a slightly larger pack and move it back a bit, but we'll see how we get on with that pack there. In terms of power,
Throttle active. 7 volts.
This pack I've been using to test, so it's by no means fully charged, but
7.1 volts.
that should get us away nicely. All we have to do now then is to wait for a nice day and we'll get this thing up in the air. The first flight of the MayBee. I know it's only April, but... So let us
Throttle active.
give it a quick test, yes?
Yep.
Yeah?
Okay.
Okay, ready to rock?
Yep.
Well, she's away. Not good against the white sky. I think the guys were saying it's a little bit tail heavy perhaps. But pesky flies today. You reckon then, gents, it may be a bit tail heavy, do you think? Woo! I think we'll try and bring her in. Whoa. Well, she flies. Well, there we have it then. A successful flight. Anything successful if I can pick it up in one piece, I feel. So thanks for watching. Cut.